During Thanksgiving dinner, my family voted me out with laughter and applause. But when I dropped a folder full of their betrayals on the table, their smug smiles vanished. During Thanksgiving dinner, my sister Isabella rose from her chair with that polished, self-satisfied smile she always wore when she thought she had the upper hand. "We voted, and you are not family anymore," she announced, her voice smug and deliberate. The words left her lips like she had been rehearsing them for days. Everyone at the table erupted in applause. My cousin Emily clapped her hands as if she were watching a live performance, while Uncle David raised his glass of wine and offered a toast. Even my mother, my own mother, chuckled and said, "Well, somebody had to say it." I sat there, staring down at my plate, too stunned to speak. The stuffing had turned cold, but my blood felt like it was boiling. My father did not even glance in my direction. He just took another sip of his beer and mumbled, "It is probably for the best." "Well," I said, slowly pushing my chair back, my voice steady even though my hands trembled. "You all actually rehearsed this?" Isabella's grin widened, triumphant. "You have been toxic for years. We are just done pretending." "You are not family," my mother added casually, reaching for the cranberry sauce like we were discussing the weather. "It is unanimous." I looked around the table, waiting for someone to object, to speak up, to say anything. No one did. Not a single person. "All right," I replied quietly. "If that is how you feel." I reached into my bag, pulling out a thick folder I had prepared in anticipation of something like this. Placing it gently in the middle of the table, I let it fall with a solid thud that sliced through the laughter. Isabella's eyes narrowed. "What is that?" she asked, her tone suspicious but still cocky. I leaned back in my chair, folding my arms. "Why do you not take a look and find out?" She snatched the folder from the table, her fingers clawing at the edges as she tore it open. Her smirk was firmly in place, until it wasn't. The instant she began flipping through the pages, her face went pale. Her eyes darted over the documents, her expression shifting from disbelief to terror. She screamed. Not a cry of anger or frustration, but a genuine, blood-curdling scream that rattled the room. The force of her reaction sent her chair crashing backward as she leapt to her feet, slamming the folder shut like it had burned her fingers. "You twisted freak," she shrieked, her voice splintering with panic. Gasps rippled across the table. Ryan, her husband, snatched the folder from her hands and started reading. His mouth hung open as his eyes skimmed the pages. He turned to me, his voice weak. "Is this?" I nodded, my gaze steady. "It is all real. Every word. Every receipt. Every screenshot." The entire table fell into a suffocating silence. You could hear the faint clink of a fork from the kitchen. My mother opened her mouth to speak, but only managed to swallow air like a fish stranded on dry land. "You were all so certain I would not fight back," I said, slowly rising to my feet. "So sure I would stay quiet. Be the doormat. The one who just kept giving without ever expecting anything in return." I leaned forward, locking eyes with Isabella. "But guess what? Your little performance is over. Do you want to know what was in that folder?" "I will get to that part. But before I do, you need to understand how we reached this point." Isabella did not just wake up one morning and decide to cut me off from the family. No, that decision was built over the years. Brick by brick. Comment by comment. Betrayal by betrayal. I was never their favorite. Not by a long shot. Isabella was always the golden child, the one everyone adored. She excelled at everything that earned praise. Good grades, a dazzling smile, and a knack for charming any room she entered. She had this talent for lying straight to someone's face and somehow leaving them feeling grateful for it. I, on the other hand, was quiet, private. I kept to myself, and that only made them resent me more. They took my silence as some sort of weakness. I moved out when I was 19. I paid for college on my own, juggling 2 jobs, never asking them for anything. Meanwhile, Isabella stumbled her way through 2 failed majors, took off to Europe on some self-discovery journey, then came back and married Ryan. Their wedding? I ended up paying for half of it. My parents could not afford the cost, but they somehow still managed to take a 2-week cruise right afterward. I did not complain. I never did. Even when they joked about me being the family accountant, I kept helping. I paid for my dad's dental surgery, sent money when my mom claimed the heating bill was overdue, even chipped in for part of Emily's tuition when she got stuck on a wait list for a scholarship. They always said thank you, sure, but with that condescending tone. By hinting, well, of course, you would help. You do not have a family of your own. And maybe that was the root of it. You see, I am single. No spouse. No kids. No drama. Just me, my work, and my dog. In their eyes, That meant I had nothing better to do than bankroll their problems. Isabella, especially, treated me like her personal safety net. When Ryan lost his job, her first call was to me. "Just a small loan," she said. When her car broke down, her voice dripped with expectation. "You make six figures. What is $2,000 to you?" When her child needed therapy and insurance would not cover it, guess who she called? Me. I always helped. Always. Because I convinced myself it was what family did. But over time, helping morphed into obligation, then into expectation, and finally into demand. It began subtly. Backhanded jokes over dinner. "Oh, you brought wine? Must be nice to afford the good stuff. Of course you are early. You do not have kids to worry about. I wish I could work late every night and avoid my husband too." But the jokes turned cruel. "You are so cold. Maybe that is why you are still alone. You do not understand real stress. You do not have a real life. You are just bitter that no one needs you." Except, the truth was, they needed me constantly. Financially. Quietly. Behind closed doors. Then came the text from Isabella. "Hey, can you co-sign for a small business loan? Ryan and I want to open a wellness cafe." My reply was simple. "No." Isabella's response came fast. "Wow. Really?" Then the silence began. That was 3 months ago. Since then, the cold shoulder became a permanent fixture. My mother stopped calling. My father's messages shrank to one-word replies. They left me out of the last family dinner entirely. Isabella blocked me on social media after posting some grand declaration about cutting toxic people out of her life. But I did not sit around feeling sorry for myself. Instead, I got to work gathering evidence. Literal receipts. I keep records. Bank transfers. Emails. Screenshots. Dates. I am not stupid. Over the last 5 years, I had given out more than $80,000 to different members of my family. $80,000. $10,000 went toward Ryan's rehab. $2,500 covered Isabella's so-called emergency dental work, which I later found out was for elective veneers. $2,000 was spent on my dad's back surgery. $15,000 went to help my mom dig herself out of credit card debt. $5,000 covered Emily's college move-in expenses. $4,000 was for a family emergency that turned out to be nothing but a vacation to Cabo. And the kicker? Not once did anyone offer to pay me back. They took and took. And when I finally drew the line and stopped handing over money, I was suddenly the problem. So, I decided to make the folder. I compiled every text message and email where they asked me for money. I took screenshots of Isabella calling me manipulative to her friend because I refused to give her a loan. I built a timeline of all the big payments I had made over those 5 years. And as the finishing touch, I saved copies of their Facebook and Instagram posts where they openly mocked me. I even found a comment thread where Isabella, thinking I would never see it, called me a spineless source of money. So, when she opened the folder, that was what she saw. It was enough to make her scream. Isabella was not just embarrassed. She was completely dismantled, piece by piece, detail by detail, all laid out for the entire family to see. My mom looked like she was about to faint. Ryan just stared at the line that read, for $1,500 to cover Isabella's credit card charges, spent at a hotel in Beverly Hills with someone named Jack. And all he could say was, "What is this?" I did not bother answering. I did not have to. For the first time, I was not defending myself. I was just showing them the truth. "You kept records?" My mom finally asked, her voice trembling. "Of everything?" I looked her dead in the eyes, staying calm. "You never remembered, so someone had to." Isabella was still standing there, pale as a ghost, her fists clenched at her sides. Her eyes kept flicking between Ryan, me, and the folder like she was desperate to figure out some way to wriggle out of it. "This is a violation," she spat. "You had no right to." "No right," I said, rising slowly to my feet. "You just stood here in front of everyone and declared I was not family. You all applauded. And now you are angry that I came prepared." Ryan flipped another page in the folder. "What's this about Beverly Hills?" he asked, his voice tight. Isabella's head whipped toward him. "Don't start." "Who is Jack?" he pushed. "And why were you staying at a hotel for 3 nights on my credit card?" The silence from her was louder than any answer. "Wait." My mom cut in, raising her hands like she was trying to keep the peace. "Can we all just calm down and be reasonable?" "Sure," I said, nodding. "Let's be reasonable. Let's talk about that time you called me a parasite while cashing the check I sent you." She blinked like I had slapped her. "That is not fair. We were under stress." "No," I shot back. You were under stress. And I bailed you out. Every single time. And the one time I say no, suddenly, I am the enemy. My dad, who had been sitting there in silence the entire time, finally spoke. You are blowing this way out of proportion. I looked right at him, my voice dropping low. You let them treat me like this for years. You saw it. You heard it. And you let it keep happening because standing up to them would have been harder. He did not even try to deny it. Isabella slammed her hand down on the table. You are just bitter because nobody needs you anymore. Wrong. I replied, my voice like ice. I am not bitter. I am finished. She let out this bitter, mocking laugh. You are pathetic. Do you know how ridiculous you look? Bringing a folder? Printing screenshots? You really think this makes you the victim? It just proves you are a control freak. And you are proving, I said, locking eyes with her, that the only time you cared about me was when I was paying your bills. She nearly shouted. You do not get to play the martyr. You chose to help. You did not have to. Yet somehow, I said, stepping closer, you always expected it. Every single time. Until it stopped being help and became something I owed you. And when I stopped, you all decided I did not belong in this family. My voice cracked then, not from sadness, but from sheer frustration. You did not want a brother. You wanted a wallet that walked. Ryan was standing now, holding the folder with a clenched jaw. Is this true? He asked, looking at Isabella. All of it. For once, Isabella did not have a quick comeback. No fake tears. No sidestepping the issue. Just complete, stunned silence. You lied to me, Ryan said, his voice breaking. About the hotel. About the money. About him. They tried to paint him as unhinged. I felt like I had no other choice. She lashed out, furious. From my perspective, he was turning everyone against me. I denied it, stating plainly, you managed that all on your own. The air grew thick with silence. Eventually, my mom leaned forward, her tone softer this time, trying once more. Listen, sweetheart. Maybe we overreacted. But we are still family. Families argue. That's how it goes. Let's just move past this. I cut her off before she could continue. You are not listening to me. She blinked, startled. What? I continued, my voice steady. I am not here asking for peace. I am not looking for forgiveness. I am telling you this. I am finished. Isabella scoffed, her expression twisted with annoyance. Oh, stop acting like this is some big dramatic declaration. You have made threats like this before. I met her gaze, unwavering. Not like this. Reaching into my coat pocket, I pulled out another envelope. My father looked up, his exhaustion clear. What now? He asked. I tossed the envelope onto the table. Ryan caught it just before it slid off the edge. He opened it and read the first line. His eyes widened in disbelief. What is this? He murmured. I answered before anyone else could. Power of attorney forms. For Mom. Revoked. Medical proxy. Revoked. Emergency contact. Removed. The papers are already signed. From this point forward, I am legally and emotionally free from any responsibility concerning any of you. My mother's expression crumbled, her voice trembling. You are cutting ties completely? Completely, I replied, with absolute finality. Starting right now. You are being selfish, she said, her eyes welling up with tears. We made mistakes, but we are still your family. I turned to her, my voice low, steady, and final. No, you are not. I picked up my coat, looked at them one last time, and walked out the door, leaving them behind in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner, frozen in shock, surrounded by untouched food and harsh truths. I walked away and did not look back. Not because it did not hurt. It did. But as I closed the door behind me, stepped off their porch, and walked into the chill of the night, something shifted inside me. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I did not drive straight home. Instead, I pulled off the road near a lake I used to visit as a kid, the same spot my dad would take me fishing. I sat there, staring out over the still water, and felt something that had eluded me for a long time. There was no weight pulling at me. No guilt. No pressure. No one waiting for money, a ride, or a favor. Just quiet. The next morning? Silence. The day after that? Still nothing. But by the third day, the messages began. First my mom. A missed call. Then another. Then a voicemail. Did you really mean it? We were angry, but we are still your family. I ignored it. Then came the texts. From Isabella. You have no idea what you have done. Ryan is filing for divorce. Are you happy now? There is something seriously wrong with you. Then my father reached out. You took things too far. We all said things we regret. But what you did, it was like dropping a bomb on everything. Your mother is falling apart. Come and fix this. I did not respond to any of them. And honestly, I expected to feel guilty. I thought sleepless nights would follow, haunted by whether I had crossed a line. But instead, I slept more soundly than I had in years. No more analyzing every message. No more bracing myself for some fresh crisis. No more late-night money requests disguised as emergencies. For the first time in over a decade, I could hear myself think. I began waking up early, going for runs, and brewing coffee slowly, savoring the process. I scheduled appointments I had avoided for years. Dentist, doctor, even a therapist. Not because I felt broken, but because I finally felt like I was allowed to take care of myself. I updated my emergency contacts, removed my parents, changed all my passwords. I locked down every joint account they had access to, blocked Isabella across every social media platform. At that point, it was no longer about revenge. It was about finding closure. A week after Thanksgiving, Emily, my cousin who cheered when the family voted me out, sent me a text. I did not know you paid for my tuition. I am sorry. I just followed the crowd. You were always the one who actually helped. I did not respond, but I read her message. Twice. Not long after that, another unexpected message arrived. This time, it was from Ryan. I filed the papers. Everything you included in that folder was accurate. She cheated, lied, manipulated. Not just you. Me too. You made the right call. I should have left her a long time ago. I was not expecting him to say that, but it hit home. A few days later, I did something I had not done in years. I applied for a job in another city. Not to escape, but because I was finally free. No more obligations to stay close to home. No more guilt-laden questions about who would take care of them if I left. I began reaching out to friends I had distanced myself from over the years, people I had drifted away from because I was always too wrapped up in family drama. The craziest part? Some of them had come across my post on Reddit. They reached out just to say, "We are proud of you." That was brave. No one asked for money. No one laid on the guilt. No one tried to twist the situation. Just genuine support. Honest, pure, and straightforward. Someone asked me if I regretted it. I paused for a moment, then said, "The only regret I have is not doing it sooner." I thought that was the end of it. In a sense, it was. But with people like them, things never end cleanly. Especially when they begin to feel the effects of your absence. The first few weeks after Thanksgiving were peaceful, strangely and beautifully quiet. No calls, no guilt trips, just calm. Then Christmas came around. On December 22nd, I received a text from my mother. It was just a photo. Their living room, decked out with stockings and a half-decorated tree. Front and center, a glaring empty space where they usually piled the presents. "It doesn't feel the same without you. Grace keeps asking why her uncle is not coming this year." That was the caption. I stared at it for a long time. No apology. No ownership of what they had done. Just the same old manipulative tone. "Look what you have done. Look who you are hurting." I did not respond. On December 23rd, Isabella tried calling. I let it ring until it went silent. Then she sent a text. "I know I messed up, but you do not have to punish everyone. Just come by for Grace. She misses you." 2 minutes later, another text followed. "Also, Mom and Dad are behind on their mortgage. I know you do not care anymore, but the bank called today. I thought you would want to know." And there it was. The inevitable ask. Always wrapped in guilt, masked by false sincerity. But it always came down to the same thing, a request. I blocked her number. December 24th. Another message, this time from my father. "You made your point. We get it. But this has gone far enough. We need help. We are still your family." That night, I sat alone by the fireplace, sipping a glass of wine. I looked around my small apartment. No tree, no festive noise. Just me and the quiet they always swore would destroy me. And for the first time, I felt grateful for that silence. But it did not end there. January rolled around. I received a call from a number I did not recognize. Without thinking, I picked up out of habit. "Is this Lucas?" a man's voice asked. "Yes," I replied cautiously. "Who is calling?" "My name is Ethan," he said. "I am calling on behalf of your father. He mentioned that you are the primary executor of the family trust." I went cold. "I revoked that role 2 months ago," I replied firmly. "It was finalized by the family attorney. My name is off everything." The man paused before speaking again. "I see. Your father said he could not reach you directly and asked me to explore options. They're in a bit of a bind. Of course, they were. Isabella and my parents had run out of options. The well had dried up. The safety net was gone. Now they were getting desperate, trying anything that might work. I hung up without another word. But the final blow came in February. I received an envelope in the mail, handwritten with no return address. But I recognized my mother's handwriting instantly. Inside, there was a letter, 3 pages long. The first page of the letter was drenched in regret. We said things in anger. You were always the strong one. We never realized just how much we relied on you. The second page was a blunt instrument of guilt. Your father's health is not good. Isabella is completely alone now. We are worried about Grace. She is struggling. And the third page? That was the hook. We are selling the house. But we are underwater on the mortgage. We just need a little help to get through this. Then we will never ask again. Please, Lucas, do it for your father. Do it for the family. I sat with that letter in my hands for a long time. I allowed myself to feel every bit of what they intended me to feel. The crushing sense of duty. The sharp sting of obligation. The overwhelming urge to try to repair what was irreparably broken. Then I folded the letter, got up, walked to the kitchen, and tossed it straight into the trash. The truth was, they were not really asking for help. They were asking for access. Again, they did not truly want me back in the family. They wanted the version of me who never said no. The one who handed over money without complaint. The one who sacrificed quietly. The one who endured silently. But that version of me? He no longer exists. I am not their scapegoat anymore. I am not their golden goose. I am not the glue that holds their crumbling lives together. I am finished. And the most unsettling truth for them? I am doing just fine without them. I got a new job, moved to a new city, found a bigger place, started fresh. I began volunteering on weekends, not because someone needed me to, but because I genuinely wanted to. I built a life where nobody calls me at 11 at night expecting me to clean up a mess they refuse to acknowledge. Where my independence is not punished. Where kindness is not twisted into leverage. I do not regret helping them, but I do regret how long it took me to stop. Do you want to know what genuine peace feels like? It is not being surrounded by family. It is being free from people who only remember you are family when they want something. It has been a few months now. They did not change. After I cut them off, after the folder, after the shouting, the silence, and the letters, I thought maybe, just maybe, someone would understand. That they would reflect. That they would finally say, "We are sorry." But they did not. They stayed quiet for a while. Then they got strategic. Then they grew desperate. And then they turned ugly again. But me? I found freedom. Since then, I moved into a new place. Got a job that does not rob me of sleep. Started therapy. Real therapy. The kind where you stop trying to fix everyone else and finally learn how to face yourself. I cook for myself now. I sleep soundly. I go outside more. I do not flinch when my phone vibrates. And yes, sometimes I think about Grace. About the things she is being taught. About what she will grow up believing is normal. But I also know this. I was the example of someone who finally said, enough. A few days ago, another letter arrived. Handwritten. From my mother. Just 3 words. We are still family. No explanation. No apology. No sign of change. Just the same old hook. And for the first time, I felt absolutely nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just emptiness. I tossed the letter away and went to make dinner. So here's what I need to ask. Did I do the right thing? Cutting them off. Letting go of all that weight. Saying no, and actually meaning it. Was I too cold? Or was I finally just done being the only one holding everything together? I'm not sure. But I do know this. For the first time in my life, I am not just surviving. I am actually living. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more content like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to drop a comment.